Tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com for our 20th anniversary Back to the 80s WrestleFest, Saturday, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Mass. Wrestling fans, it's time to rock. WWE legend Marty Jannetty of the Rockers returns for 3 big nights, Wednesday, September the 1st through Friday, September the 3rd. Marty will be taping historical Wrestling Insider episodes, live specials, Insider autograph signings, support wrestling superstars, pre-order autographed 8x10s now over at bostonwrestling.com. This September, get your sunglasses ready. It's time to party with Marty.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there, live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to another installment of your Sunday Night Delight. Wrestling Insider stern but fair Dan Marotti here with the first Boston Wrestling MWF Heavyweight Champion, our board of director member, Mr. Tiger Mulligan, here to share his insight, wisdom, and experience in the king of sports, professional wrestling, here on what is the birthday of our late near dear friend, the Jackal. Our good friends here at the studio, the cleaning woman, just left. I was ready to take that Roy Orbison song and create my own version of it, singing, "Cleaning woman, walking down the street, cleaning woman, the kind I'd like to meet, cleaning woman. No one can clean as good as you." Boom, 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 boom. And I pass the baton to you, Tiger.
Oh my God! I think we need to wrap it up after that one. Holy moly!
Well, I hope the fans enjoyed our SummerSlam '89 live watch along tonight. It was a heck of a lot of fun, I'm sure. And the cleaning woman have left. You know, it's sad now. It's almost like the final segment of Saturday night's main event on NBC back when it used to end at 105.
I mean, I think now we're getting a little out of hand.
All right, well, maybe it's not that depressing to see the cleaning women leave, but they do a hell of a good job. I don't know their names, but you know what? They clean and they do good.
Hey, listen, if they don't mind coming down to New Jersey, on my bucket list today, I wouldn't call it a bucket list. On my to-do list today is to actually clean my house. So if they want to come down and
you
help
need
me
the
out.
MWF studio cleaning women to get this done.
Yeah, I mean, why not? If they're willing to take the drive down, let's do it.
All right. Well, you know what? I guess that's an acceptable answer. It also looks like we're not going to say this out loud once he enters the building, but the man with almost a Jim Duggan-like 2x4 shoved up his ass, and more known as a stick. But the professor is going to be joining us, as I just saw him pull up as I do my people watching in front of the window. But what is going on in the world of professional wrestling? I saw you were very active this weekend in the world of social media at some festival, it looked like.
Was I at a festival? Yes, I was actually at I was doing some business at
some business.
Yeah, it was. So like I told you.
Now, what kind of a business do you do with a bale of hay?
Well, so you gotta listen for a second here. As I have mentioned last week in our podcast, I will be starting a new podcast with baby Mulligan, my son Owen, and I are going to be starting Banter with the Boys. And we had the opportunity to go down to a signing that the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase was doing, that a good friend of mine was putting together and put on at the State Fair here in New Jersey. And
gentlemen, we've had here in this very studio, a class act, if I do say so myself.
And I will go one step further beyond that class act and say that he allowed my son to do a personal interview with Ted DiBiase, which we'll be putting out this Thursday on Banter with the Boys. It was a load of fun. It was Owen's first ever interview, and we got to sit down with the $1 Million Man himself.
Well,
so
I just do want to note the professor has made it into the podcast penthouse. Maybe I should sing my Roy Orbison version of "Cleaning Women" to him, like I did to you.
I mean,
you want to hear it, Prof? Cleaning women.
He actually said yes.
Walking down the street, cleaning women, the kind I'd like to meet, cleaning women. Nobody can clean as good as you. Boom, 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 boom. Well, thank you, Professor, for as my one-man audience. Don't forget to tip the bartender, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I haven't even had an adult beverage yet, but anyway.
Yeah,
this sounds like an exciting endeavor that you have with Owen. Mulligan coming up here, and is it going to be a weekly podcast you're going to do with this child? Are you worried about child labor laws at this point?
Well, no, it's my own son, so it's I'm allowed to tell him to do whatever the hell.
It's your own son, so you can abuse and violate him any way you want to on these podcasts.
Anyway,
All right.
but it
now
actually
I know.
doesn't even. Yeah, but here's the thing: it doesn't even go that way. He abuses me. He just sits there with the microphone.
He takes advantage of you.
He does. He's got me
Wow.
editing. He's got me putting it out, doing all the prep work. It's like a 40-hour a week job just to prep for this damn thing, and he just sits there and asks the questions. It's
I need
it's
to
a little one-sided, I think.
I need to take a page out of Owen's book and get you up here to do that for me. See, at 8 years old, he's already figured it all out.
I know, right? Unbelievable. But what happened this week in wrestling? Anything special happened this week?
Oh, I think there were some newsworthy things that I really don't remember right now.
It's funny. I said the same thing, that I feel like so much went on, but there wasn't any of those big, huge announcements. Luckily, nobody lost their job this week, at least that I know of. So that's always a good thing. But I think the biggest thing that I noticed coming out of the week was this past Friday, they had AEW's first ever Rampage show at 10 o'clock on TNT. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. I mean, to be honest with you, I felt like it was a pretty decent show overall.
Well, I was with little Marty at the Red Sox game, so I didn't get a chance to actually see it. I did DVR it and check out some of the notes. It almost seemed like they were going to format it like Saturday night's main event, opening up with a main event world championship match and then closing with a lesser match later on. I think that's actually a good thing, considering it started at 10 p.m. You're probably going to start with your biggest audience at 10 and then, have it dwindle from there unless you have an extremely hot product. I thought it was a great way to put the show on the map by crowning not only a new AEW World Champion, but a TNA/Impact World Champion.
No, you're wrong there, my friend.
You're wrong. I'm all right. Well, tell me why I'm wrong then.
He is not the AEW World Champion. That title was not on the line.
Oh, well, that's why I'm wrong then.
Yeah, but you are half right with Christian becoming the new TNA, Impact, whatever the hell you want to call it these days, World Champion for them.
Well, I still think it's a significant match, and I still think it's a significant title change to open up that series, even if the AEW title wasn't on the line.
I'll tell you what, I was a little skeptical as far as the match goes. I thought it was a hot shot type thing with those two. I felt they could have had a better build to it. However, I see where they're going with it. I thought the match was unbelievable. I mean, I'll tell you what, Christian, it doesn't look like he's lost a step, to be perfectly honest with you.
Not at all.
Got some time off. He's in shape. He looks good. His ring work, his ring style is a lot better than some of the other guys they got out there, and girls for that fact. It was an unbelievable match. It had me hooked on it. And like I said, I see where they're going, where you get somebody like Christian as your world champion, especially for a company like Impact. I think it's going to bring some eyeballs over. Now, I've been looking at social media this morning. It looks like his first title defense for Impact is going to go up against Brian Myers. I don't watch Impact at all, but just for the sake of nostalgia, I guess, and the way that those two feel about each other personally, and they're very fond of each other. I know Brian Myers is a big fan of Christian, and Christian has helped him out when they first came in, when they were the Major Brothers. I think it's going to be a good match, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. And I might watch Impact for the first time because of it.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd go out of my way to see Christian against Kurt Hawkins, but it's good for Impact. I mean, it adds another world championship player to a thin roster, I guess is what you might call it. More and more WWE releasees are going to be able to sign on to new promotions in the coming weeks and months. So who knows who may pop up on Impact. But overall, just a good thing for Impact to be able to have access to Christian. I think that ends the Kenny Omega and Don Callis days, at least for the time being, within that organization. I know Don Callis is no longer part of the executive branch of the company, so to speak. even though it's a big soccer day in some parts of the world, as we talk about the king of sports here, professional wrestling. But I just, you know what, when you have a new series and there's so much wrestling on television, you have to kind of do something interesting and out of the box. They just did death matches and war games type matches and blood and guts personified. I think having an important title change like that was a great way to make people take notice of the new time slot for the new show, leading into what should be the debut of CM Punk at a sold-out United Center this Friday night, August the 20th.
How great would it be if CM Punk did not show up on that show?
I think you'd have about 15,000 bullshit fans, that's for sure.
I think it would be the biggest ruse. But even better, you have him show up like 2 weeks later at Podunk, Kentucky or something like that, and just you could make CM Punk the biggest heel. And if he just came out and said, I just didn't want to come out then. I wanted to come out now. I'm on my own time, not yours. That type of deal. I think it would be hilarious. I know it's not going to happen, but I just think it would be really funny.
Or maybe play the song and have someone else come out.
Oh, that would be even better.
Someone that they'd hate, like a Strowman. He'd still get a pop. Everybody gets a pop when they debut, but I think you know what I mean.
It would have to be. Yeah, it would have to be
someone that would have to be the polar opposite of Punk. Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
And that's a good one too. Someone that's already in the company. Yeah. The guy MJF.
MJF would be good, but I think that's too predictable. I think if you want to get somebody over really as a heel, you know who would be perfect? It would be Colt Cabana.
No one cares about him, but it does make sense. You're right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it would be really funny, and he could come out and even be, I'm from Chicago, and that's what everybody's been talking about. I'm the best in the world, and then you bring CM Punk out just to give him the finish and call it a day.
I got a check for you, Phil.
Is mine in the mail?
No, I guess you didn't get the joke. Or either you did get the joke and you didn't find it all that funny.
Oh, no, I did. I'm
lawsuit.
sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, I hope they settled all that and they're friends again, but I highly doubt it.
With that amount of money, my guess would be no, but I'm going to guess that to remain a positive, regular fixture in the company, Colt Cabana is going to be very nice. Or avoid them, whichever Mr. Punk
probably both
prefers.
Both. But so we don't get too much off track here, going back to Rampage, the only thing that I just really disliked about the show, and I thought, there's two things. The first one was that 4-man commentator booth. Oh,
that just sounds like too much without even seeing it.
Well, the problem is that they had Mark Henry, who I love, out there doing it. And I'm sorry, but Mark Henry can't do commentary. He even had a tough time interviewing the two women before they had their title match. You had Chris Jericho out there pulling a Mauro Ranallo, just screaming at the top of his lungs the whole time.
So he was doing shtick Chris Jericho as opposed to Chris Jericho.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
You have Taz out there. Who I just was never a big fan of Taz to begin with.
You're one of the few that don't like him at all. All right.
Yeah, and then Excalibur.
Oh my God! It sounds dreadful the way you just put it together.
It was just it's almost seemed like a hodgepodge, and listen,
one guy that can't talk, one guy doing bad shtick, another one whose shtick you don't like, and another guy you don't want to hear at all, and that's the 4-man booth. And is it an hour or a 2-hour show?
Well, no, it was a 1-hour show, which I was actually pleased with because it's coming off of the heels of that SmackDown.
But 4 commentators on a 1-hour show? How do people get to speak?
I don't know. That was the main problem was they didn't know when to speak, and then they started speaking over each other. It just Excalibur, I could tell, was trying to lead it, but he just can't do that. They needed Jim Ross there in the worst way.
Well, every time he talks, he's got to go up and down.
But at least he could lead the show.
That's one way to describe it.
It was really bad. I feel bad for the guys, but come on.
I guess JR and Tony Schiavone don't want to work Friday.
Well, no, because it seemed like looking at social media, JR was sitting at home watching it on his TV.
Probably with an adult beverage.
I mean, that guy doesn't go anywhere without an adult beverage. And I don't blame him.
Well, did it have a different set? Did it look different?
No, it was the same setup.
No, that's disappointing.
Well, the reason why was because they were in the same building as they used for their original, what was it, Dynamite on Wednesday. So Wednesday they were in Pittsburgh. They stayed in the same building for Friday. So they're not going to move things around.
Logistically, it certainly makes sense, but I say this. You
Should be
don't
different.
want to come off as WWE light. What's one of WWE's biggest problems? All of their shows look and sound the same. They should want to be different, unique, stand out. Now, they do have their Dynamite set is different looking and has a different feel than WWE's, but you don't want Dynamite and Rampage to look and sound the feel or feel and sound the same and so on and so forth. I think people understood what I meant to try and say. Yeah. But you know what? What's the point in watching both of them if they both come off as the same?
Exactly. Well, I think you're right in this aspect of it. I can see why they're doing it because it's definitely a money saver.
Oh, absolutely. I get the financial aspect of it, sure. Yeah.
We'll see where it goes because I don't know if they're going to be doing all of their weeks like this where they're going to stay in the same building. I can't foresee them doing that or even being able to do that logistically. Right. I even think they're coming to New Jersey soon for a Wednesday, and I think they'll be in New York the following Friday. So I don't know. We'll have to see where it goes.
At the same time, I couldn't see them. All right, this week we're going to use the Rampage set, and then this other week, because it's cheaper, we're going to use the Dynamite set. And I don't think that would make any sense.
No, and I mean, even just from a cost perspective, like you'd have to double the amount of trucks that you need to bring in for aesthetics and whatnot and staging and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if they're prepared. They're scooping up so many guys and paying them big money. I don't know if they're prepared to do stuff like that just yet.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, I think it's good that there's another primetime wrestling show that's adding value to that company, that is being paid guaranteed money by TNT, that's going to create some more jobs within the industry. I think it's a positive overall. I just don't want to see the show go the route that Thunder went and the route that SmackDown went when it wasn't a dual-branded show and that it felt identical to the quote-unquote A show, which was Nitro and Raw. If they go that route, Rampage will not be successful. If they can find a way to make Rampage feel different, look different, outside of having this 1 hour, 4-man commentary booth that doesn't sound very good on paper, if nothing else. It doesn't seem like they're at the point now where they're going to do dual rosters. I don't know. I don't know the longevity of it. The longevity of it.
It's probably a waiting game at this point. I do think that they're going to end up doing. You won't see many guys doing both shows, so
that should be a prerequisite. I just asked Mike Quinn across the street, and he agreed with me.
Yeah. I think that they need to keep it. If you're doing a promo, if you have, say, a Kenny Omega, your champion, if he, for example, wrestles on a Wednesday, and you want to have him maybe cut a promo on Friday, or do a video package with him in it on a Friday, that's fine. But don't put him in the ring twice in 1 week. It just doesn't make any sense.
2 to 3 times a month total between both shows is more than enough. More than enough, in my opinion.
100% agreed.
Other than that, it's overexposure. And again, if you know you're guaranteed to see the same people at the same time every week, 52, if not 104 times a year, what is the reason to go out of your way to want to watch it? And I ask that respectfully. That I'm not trying to disparage the effort of Tony Khan and AEW. What is the answer to that question? If your superstars are available 104 times for free on TV each year, why order the pay-per-view? Or why watch every episode, which should be the goal of everyone that runs a wrestling organization, to have each fan want to watch every episode of their TV show to build up to the things that they have to pay for.
Yeah, I agree with you. Where again, it's the overexposure thing. I haven't seen Miro in a while, and they had him on this past Friday. They had him squash some guy. He looked tremendous. He looked very good physically, and it was good to see him. Now, if I had just seen Miro the other day on Wednesday, I would have turned the channel. But because I haven't seen him in a few weeks, it made me stay on the channel and watch it. So. I hope everybody understands your point because I 100% agree with it.
Well, since you are a wise man that's been around this industry, I'll ask your opinion. How do you think the debut of AEW Rampage on TNT is going to affect the numbers for John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insider's Fabulous Friday that used to premiere, well, still premieres after SmackDown? Do you think it's going to hurt Rampage? Do you think it's going to hurt Fabulous Fridays?
Do I think it's going to hurt Rampage? I don't know. I think we might be stretching for straws on that one. As much as I like my buddy John Senior, I just think it might hurt it a little bit. And who knows what those numbers are going to look like. If people can multitask and maybe do both at one time, I don't know. Again, it might be a waiting game. You might have to see, and you might have to make that decision.
Well, Tony Khan might have something to worry about, though. You know what? Johnny is a former Raw main eventer, a pay-per-view player in WWE. Perhaps he could make a dent in the numbers on TNT, on YouTube. I don't know.
I don't disagree with you. I think that he's got to pull out all the stops and maybe get his pal Margeau on with him, and then it would be something to watch.
And then you got some reality show star power on there, too. I like the way you're thinking.
See?
Well, speaking of CC, last night, as we're taping this, it was Triple Mania down in Mexico, the WrestleMania of Mexico, and with a surprise appearance by the man, the Nature Boy Ric Flair in Mexico, managing future son-in-law Andrade, however it's pronounced in Mexico.
Idolo,
yeah, that was my second guess. The former Andrade Almas, I'll say.
Yeah, you know what? I have that in my notes about Rick. He leaves WWE. He's down in AAA. Now, from my understanding, he wants to go to AEW, and, he wants to get back in the ring and have another match. I love him. He's a legend. He's done so much in this business and really, paved the way for guys like, everybody out there. But you got to know when to call it quits, and you got to know when to just do something else. Fade in the background.
I would like to think that anyone that books Ric Flair on a wrestling event is smart enough to know that at the age of 72, and after almost dying countless times, it might not be in that organization's best interest to let him have another wrestling match. Never mind the physical presentation. There could be a little sagging going on. I don't know that. I haven't seen Rick without his shirt. But beyond the sagging aspect of it, I'm talking about the man continuing to live.
Yeah. I it's funny, he's said so many times that he wants to die in the ring with Fifi on top of him.
Well,
listen, maybe that's what he really wants to do. It's just the way I look at it is this: is it going to sell more tickets if you put him in the ring? I just don't see it. If he's going to be somebody that you bring in, for nostalgia reasons, and, if anything, I don't know, I don't know. I just don't think he needs to be out there. I don't think he needs to be on TV. He's done his time. He's paid his dues, more dues than anybody. And I know that he's got such a passion for the business that he can't give it up. But, for him to go out on his social media and put out a tweet saying that he'll never retire, it's, what? I think everybody has their just due and everybody has their day. And I think his is came and gone.
Well, I think he'd make a great manager. I'd never have him wrestle.
See, that's the thing. I don't think he makes a good manager. And
no?
The reason I say that is because he's so over that he has to do his shtick and he has to do his stuff. He's got to do his chop to, have the people woo. It just takes away from the guy that you're trying to build. I didn't see that match with the other two, but I heard he got involved with it. It just doesn't make any sense to me why you would even need him to do stuff like that.
Do you think he would have been better off as a manager in WWE with the women's division? As a good friend of ours here at the studio pulls up, a man that goes by the initials FDB. There's piles on here. It started with the cleaning women. Now we have professors, and we have, to be polite, Frenchmen. We went from C to we pretty quick.
Yeah, we did.
We were just talking about AAA in Mexico. Now we have a man that certainly not a name I'd ever use, but some refer to as the French douchebag entering the studio.
You would never use.
I would never use that name. No,
never.
It's very insulting.
But getting back to Rick, I don't think he needs to be out there. I think if you're going to use Ric Flair, use him as an ambassador to go and promote the town, to do signings and things like that. He doesn't need to be on TV anymore. He's got
a lot of value with that too.
Yeah, of course.
He doesn't have to be a television character. I don't think anyone's going to forget who he is.
No, and you know what? People, if you do, how they used to do those guys where you bring a wrestler down to the box office, try to pop the box office a little bit.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing those guys down there on their days off, use Rick for that.
Yeah.
I mean, use these guys for that. That's what they're there for. Have them do, your community service things and stuff like that.
I don't know if I'd exactly call it community service, but
no, but like the AEW was in Pittsburgh the other day, and they were doing some stuff at like a food bank and helping out there. That's what you use Ric Flair for.
Could you see Ric Flair going to a food bank to hand out food to homeless people?
Yes, I could. I could.
You really could. Okay, well, I can't.
Chopping somebody and giving them a thing of canned corn, cream corn, or something.
That would make for some tremendous television. That would make for. I would go out of my way to watch Ric Flair at a soup kitchen, giving out food to the homeless.
I mean, I think it would be kind of funny too. You're right. Let's try to make it happen.
Most of the people in this genre, they would probably try and steal the soup as opposed to hand it out. Knowing some of the underbelly of society in the world of professional wrestling, I would not that I would accuse Rick of that, but anyway.
Now speaking of Rick too, you had made a statement last night. I'm sorry, easy for me to say. Last week on the podcast here that if the fans of the MWF and Boston Wrestling scooped up all the VIP tickets, you would personally bring in Ric Flair. How are we looking with that?
Well, I say this, I am very, very, very happy with where things stand right now, but as of this very moment, some do remain.
Okay.
But
we're getting closer then. We're getting closer.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. If every night was looking like this night was looking, my God, there might actually be some enjoyment in it. We've had some issues with the hall itself due to an individual only known as the monster known as Piggott.
You got nicknames for everyone.
Well, that's not a nickname. That's not a nickname, believe it or not. It's a real thing.
Wow. Well, you know what? I hope I can meet this person one day.
Well, there's almost
with a name like that.
There's a play-along song that goes along to Michael Jackson's "Beat It." But
are you going to start singing again?
No. I only sing one song per show.
Per show. Okay, I got you. Well, I guess that's good for my ears. Anyway, all right. So, again, we're just speaking about Ric Flair and, November the 13th coming up quick. Let's scoop up those VIP tickets.
If the fans want to buy the VIPs, I will bring them Nature Boy Ric Flair to Memorial Hall in Melrose. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I have witnesses here online. I have witnesses here in the studio.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can trust anybody in that studio you got there right now.
Well, the cleaning women were excited about it. They started chopping each other and going, whoa, over the tables with mops.
Oh, my God. They're chopping each other with mops?
And they don't even speak English, so they were really excited. But anyway.
So it's good. It's a good thing we were talking about AAA then, Triple Mania.
Maybe they saw Triple Mania in Mexico last night.
Yeah, I just heard one of them. I just heard one of them woo in the background.
All right, wrestling fans, as this continues to derail, let's take a brief timeout. We'll be back with more Wrestling Insider's Stern but Fair after this brief timeout. Tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com for our 20th anniversary Back to the 80s WrestleFest, Saturday, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Mass. The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Boston Garden in Boston, Massachusetts with a rare 8:30 p.m. start time Saturday, August the 15th, 1987, the birthday of the Jackal. In the opening contest, the Dingo Warrior beat Barry Horowitz. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff with the win over Nikolai Volkov. $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase defeated CV Apfi. In the main event, Bruno Sammartino, Jake the Snake Roberts, and Tito Santana victorious over WWF Intercontinental Champion, the Honky Tonk Man, and WWF Tag Team Champions, the Hart Foundation, in an elimination match in Bruno's final match in Boston. Iron Mike Sharp beat Brady Boone. Hillbilly Jim with the win over the one-man gang via countout, and the Rougeau brothers defeated Dino Bravo and Johnny V. If you were in Boston live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working at our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston wrestling sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at Patreon.com.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marotti.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
On October 28th, 2020, wrestling's scariest night was back with WWE NXT Halloween Havoc. This limited edition collector's autograph poster is number 12 of only 100 produced and is signed by all 9 superstars featured on the poster, including Johnny Gargano, Damian Priest, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, Dexter Lumis, Cameron Grimes, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez, and your Halloween Havoc host, Shotzi Blackheart. Comes with WWE authentication hologram on the back. You'll also receive an on-air thank you from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas and a bonus mystery autograph photo. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome collectible now. Wrestling fans, especially here in the Boston area, we want to thank our great friends at Red Rose for their support for all of our charitable endeavors and programming efforts. Red Rose is 2 years young and extremely thankful for all the support they've had from our neighbors here in Melrose and beyond for an amazing first 2 years. Red Rose thanks Melrose and all of the first responders who have fought the good fight and have never given up hope during these unprecedented times. We did it together. Follow Red Rose on Facebook for their anniversary special, facebook.com/Red Rose Melrose. You'll be glad you did. Open until 2 a.m. Red Rose will give you fresh, piping hot, mouth-watering food that'll put an ear-to-ear smile on even the toughest critic's face. Check out their full menu online at redrosema.com or give them a call, 781-620-1889. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome back to our Sunday night Wrestling Insiders Stern but Fair. We have one of the elitists here at our studio entering the podcast penthouse, acclaimed gardener extraordinaire, host of Les Jardins, many symphonies, a man that's always known to get his hands dirty if need be. You know, when you got long arms, you can get away with it, I guess. But anyway, back to the world of professional wrestling. You know who we forgot to mention?
Who's that?
The passing of Dominic DeNucci.
Oh, yes, we did. I've never, not somebody that I had the pleasure of meeting, to be honest with you.
I met him, I think twice when it was so nice, when they'd have the Cauliflower Alley Club East Coast reunion to go along with the West Coast version. They stopped doing that because the individual kind enough to front the money for the East Coast version stopped doing so. But he'd come out, all the old WWF guys would come and hang out together, and it was a lot of fun. That's what introduced me to the Cauliflower Alley Club. I am very excited about returning to the CAC in less than a month. We're putting together an all-star team. We're going to be doing some prep work for the Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive and some interesting guests, and all the highlights and excitement of Sin City will be coming back with me in my bag, as people are amazed that Dan Marotti is able to travel to and from Las Vegas with 4 bags on his own. Now, I know the body may be a little dilapidated, but I'm not dead. You know what I mean?
Well, how big are these bags?
2 of them are pretty big.
So are they empty going out and full coming back?
No, not at all. No, I need everything to get everything set up.
Well,
I got to do the wheelchair gimmick going through the airport. Don't get me wrong, but
that's all right. I mean, hey,
you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. They got people there to push you around for a reason. You might as well take advantage of it.
Exactly. But I am looking forward to the CAC. But Dominic DeNucci, from the early 70s to the early 80s, a mainstay in the WWF/WWF, I believe, former tag team champion. I was surprised that he wasn't in that one of those early classes of the Hall of Fame that they used to have at a VFW hall. But maybe he'll be put in that, what do they call that little legacy?
The legacy wing,
maybe it
right?
is the legacy wing. I'm not sure. But whatever, for the little video package they put together for 5 or 6 people that are dead, so they don't have to spend time actually giving them
they're just due.
They're just due during the actual Hall of Fame ceremony. Maybe that's how Dominic will slide in. I think that's how Tony Gurria's destined to go in, even though he's like a 5 or a 6-time tag team champion, which I think is insane. But
now, who was DeNucci's tag partner? Was it Tony Gurria?
I think he had several over the years. I mean, he was there for 9 years.
Yeah.
Pretty consecutively. I also believe, and you know what? Someone with Google is going to Google it, and they're going to probably have the fact better than I do off the top of my head. I do not have Google in front of me. But I believe he was actually huge in Steve Ricard's promotion in New Zealand.
Oh, really?
Or it was either that or Jim Barnett in Australia. But one of the two, I think it was either Australia or New Zealand. He was a top guy for a while. I might be thinking of someone else, but I'd put down $20 that I'm right. And usually those are the types of the factoids that stick to my memory, because I believe in one of those two countries there's a big Italian population, and DeNucci was over huge. And obviously Bruno wasn't about ready to get on to work the New Zealand territory. But
yeah, it looks like, I just pulled it up real quick. In 1964, he made his Australia debut.
So
he was down in Australia. Yeah. Okay.
Jeez,
and then
the worthless things that stick into my mind. The life and times of Dominic DeNucci. The things that I have forgotten in my life that may be of some value to me. I'll probably never remember again. But I remember old Dominic DeNucci factoids. But continue, sir, please.
Yeah, no, it looks like he spent a lot of time in Canada in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s.
Now, would that have been in Toronto? Because Toronto has a pretty
Montreal.
Montreal, okay.
Montreal and Quebec and Ontario.
Well, Ontario, yeah, that's the province of Toronto.
All right, so you know better than me.
Well, they have a very significant Italian base in Ontario as well.
Oh, so he actually was a tag partner with Dino Bravo, and his name up in Canada was actually Dominic Bravo.
Oh, really? No, see, I didn't know that.
Now, wasn't Bravo a babyface up in Canada?
Oh, yeah. He was like Hogan in Montreal.
He was huge, right?
They could draw huge houses with Dino Bravo up in Canada. Montreal, I should say, more than Canada as a whole. But, Bravo was, I don't think, and I tell you this, people that have watched or listened to our shows over the years have probably heard me say many times, the Dino Bravo from 1986 to 1992 was one of the most boring I've ever seen, and I stand by that fact. But from the numbers he could do in that part of the world, Hogan-like. Even after he, I think they pretty much put him to rest after he worked Kerry Von Erich at WrestleMania 7. But they would still bring him in, I believe, to do some Montreal shows as a babyface. They dyed his hair brown again. So he had great value to that company in that part of the world. But I tell you this, do you want to know, again, the things I remember, an interesting factoid and what almost sounds like a bad dream come to life?
Yeah, let me hear it.
I am not sure about for life, not to be confused with the NWO, but do you want to know what his last match was in WWF?
This is Dino Bravo?
Yes, and it actually ties into someone you met yesterday.
His last match was with DiBiase?
No. The card had to be changed around because Mrs. DiBiase found out about Ted's extramarital affairs that Ted talks about in his autobiography.
Right.
So they had to, Ted had to fly home from the European tour, And the match was changed to the Legion of Doom against Dino Bravo and Colonel Mustafa.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
Now, can you imagine either of those two trying to go up for the finish?
No.
It had to have been like a roll-up or something, into the corner move and a roll-up. It had to have been. I could not see the Sheik at his age taking the Doomsday device, nor Dino Bravo in the condition he was in 92.
I'm requesting, if anybody out there listening has any sort of footage of that, I want to see what went on. Even just to watch the match would be tremendous.
I don't know if he ever worked Montreal or any independents after that, but this would have been shortly after WrestleMania 8. So he would have been off WWF TV for about a year. But like I said, they'd still bring him in.
Mustafa was still around in WrestleMania 8?
Yeah. He wasn't let go until the spring of 92 when he slipped some cocaine into the Berserker's bag because he thought it would be easier for the Berserker to get the cocaine into Canada instead of him. Only the Berserker didn't know. And the Berserker wanted to kill the Sheik. Now, I don't know if he could have taken the Sheik, but he wanted to go after Vaziri. He was not happy about this cocaine dropped in the bag at the Canadian border, but the Sheik was. He got it through.
I mean, because I thought he left right after that Royal Rumble. Because was he in that Royal Rumble before WrestleMania 8?
Yeah, the one where Flair won the title.
No, that wasn't WrestleMania 8.
1992. Royal Rumble 92 is when they did the World Title Rumble, and 92 was WrestleMania 8.
Oh, was it? Okay. And that's where he faced Savage?
Ric Flair did, not Colonel Mustafa.
No. So I didn't know he was even... No. I don't even remember Dino Bravo being around back then.
He was done, like I said, as a television character after WrestleMania 7 in 91. But they would still use him for some of the live events in Toronto, maybe even around Toronto. And because of DiBiase needing to come home and maybe some injuries, they put him on that spring 92 European tour.
Interesting.
So these weren't these things that were promoted on television. They were just, if not locally, they never happened because they were never on TV. There was another one, interesting one I was just going to throw at you, but I just completely lost my train of thought. Did it have to do with Dino? No.
Well, while you're thinking of it,
go ahead.
We can answer the question of Dominic DeNucci was a tag champion, the international tag team champion with Bruno Sammartino. They defeated the Mongols, and then in 1975, DeNucci.
Now was that in Pittsburgh?
I don't. It doesn't say.
Oh, all right. Because that might have been Bill Eadie. Might have been one of the Mongols or one at that point. Demolition Axe.
Which is even funnier because they only held the titles for 3 days.
Well, we didn't say it was a long run. We just said that they had a run with it.
And then,
maybe we could have called it a jog if it was only 3 days. But.
So that was 71, and then in 75, DeNucci and Victor Ribera won the World Tag Team Championships from the Valiant Brothers.
Oh, there you go.
So, I mean,
so long and storied career for Dominic DeNucci. I remember
it's funny, though, he was in a bunch of different tag teams. Jesus.
Well, when you're there for 9 years and you're working 7 nights a week in the same territory, it's not like they were working around the country at that point.
No, but it's just funny how he's kind of pigeonholed to that tag division and never really had a singles run.
Well, the same could be said for Gurria, before the end when Gurria was kind of an enhancement guy as the rock and wrestling era was kicking off. For, the bulk of Tony's career when he was a star in WWF and WWF, he was... primarily a tag team guy, and he held the tag team championship many times. But my thought that I lost came back to me, and I think this is kind of funny. Mustafa, Iron Sheik, was still in 92, almost to try and enhance some of the newcomers that were coming into the company. And you have to remember, in 92, even at that point, the Sheik could barely move. But he was on the road at that point nightly, usually doing jobs for Tatanka.
Oh, God.
I mean, what a way to try and introduce a new young guy like Tatanka, to have him try and go over on the Sheik, who was stiff to begin with, and whose selling left a lot to be desired 10 years earlier.
I mean, hey.
Nothing against Sheiky, baby, but, it is what it is.
Hey, you know what? You look at something like that, not for the match itself, but you look at it as, everybody thinks that the Sheik at that point in time was some kind of threat. Maybe not even at that point in time, but he held some name value, and that's why it helped that name value can help get a new guy over. So I can understand it.
Well, I've always wanted to have the Berserker in the studio to talk to him about this cocaine incident with Sheiky Baby. I think it would make for some riveting talk show material.
Hey, listen, I think a lot of things can make some riveting talk show material, and that definitely would be one of them.
There's very few people I couldn't get some interesting material out of. There's some people I could get more interesting material out of than others, but John Nord kind of has one of those larger-than-life personalities, and, I'd be interesting. I have the Sheik's take on the cocaine incident at the border. I would be interested to see John Nord's.
I mean, it just reminds me of that one classic Sheik story where he tested positive for whatever it was. I think it was probably cocaine. He tested positive, and they came and said to him, "All right, Sheik, you got to go home."
He was proud of himself.
Positive.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, I told you, Bubba, I test positive."
He was proud of himself.
He thought it was a good thing.
And you know what's amazing? You talk about a situation to give someone a chance. Absolutely flushed down the toilet. If you remember back when they had that incident with Duggan right down the street from you in New Jersey, Vince McMahon at the next TV tape and laid the law down, said we'll never see either of those two again in the company, and Duggan was back before the end of the year, and Sheik was back right around a year or so later, and even though they really didn't shoot any big TV angles for it, if you would watch Superstars or Challenge, they'd have those little box insert interviews, and they were grooming Sheik for, I imagine, a house show set run, if nothing else, against Randy Savage.
Really?
Former world champion against the current world champion, I guess would have been the angle. And, it just got cut off like nothing because Sheik, he couldn't resist the medicine. He needed his medicine. So it went to Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown went on the Brother Love show and said that Miss Elizabeth was servicing President Jack Tunney to receive favors. I guess you forgot that one, but
I did. I got to go back and watch some of this stuff.
That was actually a pretty good angle. But so I guess they wound up doing Macho Man and Bad News in Harlem street fights. I guess if the Sheik stuck around, they would have been Tehran street fights. I don't know. I don't even know if they have pavement in Tehran.
So I'm guessing this is back when Savage first won the title before the turn on Hogan?
Yeah. This would have been the summer of '88.
I do remember the house show loop with Bad News Brown. I do remember that.
She came through Boston once. I think he worked Scott Casey underneath a Macho Man DiBiase house show in July of '88. So it seemed that's usually, he'd get 1 month with a job guy, second month with the mid-card guy, and then the third month is when you'd have them ready to face whoever the main eventer or the world champion might have been at that point. So I'm going to guess by the time that Bad News worked Savage by, I think it was November of '88, that probably would have been Sheik if Sheik didn't have the medicine issue.
Yeah, well, he had more issues than just the medicine.
And that can be said 10 times over.
Anyway.
We're going to miss Dominic.
Yes, we're going
to miss Dominic. The professor's tearing up over by his laptop right now.
I'm sure he is. Dominic. Just tell him not to drop any tears on the keyboard, and might put that thing up in smoke.
Well, were there any other interesting news and notes this week? I know I wanted to bring someone up, but I know you get a little hot under the collar about it. And again, I don't know if you have a collar on, Chuck, but
Let me guess. You want to bring up the fact that that piece of shit Leo Rush decided to come back and start wrestling again.
Now, see, I would not have called him that, number one. Number two, it's not that he decided to. He already declared that he would before he went down to injury and needed surgery. But yes,
my God.
Leo Rush had a hell of a night in Los Angeles, California, working for New Japan Pro Wrestling last night.
Of course he did,
my
because
good
he's out of
friend
money
Leo
already.
Rush.
Yeah, your good friend. He's out of money already. He's been too busy sitting at home and nursing his stack of dimes he calls a neck. And now he decides that, I got all the sympathy from retiring for the fifth freaking time. I'm going to come back, and in a year from now, when I'm not over as much as I think I should be, I'll decide to retire again.
Well, he's turning into the sports entertainment version of Terry Funk with so many retirements in such a short period of time. But I think the world of Leo, which obviously you do not. I was very happy to learn of his big night in Los Angeles. I'm going to guess it had to have been somewhere near the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum because I saw a lot of photos of that which was the venue that was supposed to house WrestleMania 7 before ticket sales plummeted, and they decided to blame the war on it.
The terrorists. Yeah, what a good one that was.
But you know what?
Still to this day, they keep claiming that.
And they do, which I think is absurd at this point. It has been 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, I am happy that Leo is back. I hope Leo decides to stay professional wrestling, but that is I. You do not like Leo as much as I do.
I'll say this. I'll be fair because it's a stern but fair show.
Yes, you have to be fair if nothing else.
I am happy that he is not hurt and that he's able to perform and do what he quote unquote loves to do. What I'm not happy about and why I still think he's a piece of garbage is the way that he treats people and things that I've personally seen him do. Now, does that have any effect on my life? No, because he didn't do anything to me. I've never shaken the guy's hand. I've never looked him in the eye and said anything. That's not to say that I wouldn't. But, good for him. He's back doing his thing. I just hope he can continue to do whatever it is that he does, that he can stay healthy or supposedly stay healthy and not have to go on another rant and rave about everything and retire again. If you're going to wrestle, then wrestle. If you're not, then take a hike.
That's the one thing I will agree with you on. We don't need all the retirements and so on. But
I don't need the drama. It shouldn't be drama. Leave the drama for inside the ring and have a compelling match. All the stuff outside with your social media and trying to get clicks and likes and all this nonsense, it's just it's too much, especially when you're not as over as you think that you are.
Well, he did promise to fulfill those obligations he had with New Japan, which is good. I know he has said that he wanted to have a match over in Japan with Sam Claxton. I don't know if we're going to see that match in the future or not. That remains to be seen. But, I'd love to see Leo here in Boston Wrestling MWF compete.
Hey, if it draws the fans and that's what the fans want, then I would be happy to bring it up at a board of directors meeting to get him on board.
Well, thank you. We need all the support we can get in some of these matters. But anything else going on in your news and notes? As I'm trying to think off of the top of my head, it was another busy week here in the world of Boston Wrestling MWF. Big productions, big people. John Cena Sr. was back from Temptation Island on USA Network with Majo. He was sweating.
So I'm sure he was sweating, and I'm sure he still is. But I think one of the other big things that's coming out of this week is after all of the NXT releases, it seems like your buddy Dave Meltzer is putting out there that Triple H is actually being blamed for the way NXT is going and their quote unquote bad ratings and having he single-handedly lost the war to AEW. And that's why they've decided to revert some of the things that they're doing with NXT and the way they're going to go about things. Well,
I don't know why everyone calls Dave Meltzer my buddy. I don't know if it was because
well,
a lot of people say that.
Oh, really? No,
I have been invited to vote in the prestigious Hall of Fame before, so I don't know if that's it. But a lot of people like to throw that in there when they bring the man's name up, and that's fine. I think his body of history is going to stand the sands of time, so to speak. But as far as, now I've completely lost my train of thought again. With Triple H and NXT, rewind a couple of years back to when they named Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman the executive producers of SmackDown and Raw. The reason that was done, and people were shocked that Triple H was not given one of those two shows, was because McMahon felt they were both doomed to fail. And in the end, he was proven right, because neither one of them, I don't think, lasted a year, especially Bischoff, who was only there a few months.
Less than a cup of coffee.
As far as NXT goes, I've said it before, I've said it again. You know what? I enjoy it most weeks, but I feel the quality has fallen. Yes. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to, not YouTube. I think there's an overemphasis on women. I think Beth Phoenix really takes away from the quality of the show with her horrible commentary, just inserting these pre-prepared lines. I know I'm in the minority, but I think Mauro Ranallo, when he used to scream for 2 hours, was too much for my ears to handle in one night. So, and I when we discussed all the releases last week, I tended to agree that there are There are some people that I think are going to fit in great in NXT, but I don't think they'd fit in great in one of the other brands right now, no matter how technically or athletically gifted they may be. At 5'6", 5'7", they're not going to stand out as a superstar in a WWE ring. Now, maybe Triple H disagrees with that. Maybe Triple H is, I haven't sat down and talked to him about it, believe it or not. But maybe he's not all about just the athleticism. Maybe there's some common sense thought that goes into it, too, that if he thinks this is good for the goose, he might think it's good for the gander, and this is what Raw and SmackDown could potentially turn into at some point, where you have Bobby Lashley, Johnny Gargano main events.
Yeah, so I kind of relate it back to, I could use Shane McMahon as an example. Many moons ago, Shane was on track, or they were saying that he was on track to take over and do more things. And he wanted to take ECW and put it on, take that brand and just put that soul brand on the internet and not on national TV. And, they didn't go with that. And then Shane ended up leaving the company, right, and to do his other endeavors. I think Triple H is being kind of pigeonholed into that same aspect where, and if people really take a look at what's been going on with NXT, one week you have somebody on their show, and then the next week they're up on Raw or SmackDown. It makes it very difficult to write long-term anything and know what's going to go on within your little bubble when your bubble keeps getting popped by whomever it is that's bringing people up. Now, on the same token, you have somebody like a Bronson Reed who's just coming off a North American title run, went up for one or two dark matches. Vince did not like what he saw. Saw no potential with him whatsoever, did not see him getting over or doing anything with him. So instead of just sending him back down, they fired him. So that puts a wrench into things because he was in the storylines. Mercedes Martinez was in storylines. And, from whatever the reason was, I'm hearing it's because of her age and that Vince didn't see anything with her. And what kind of bit her in the ass at the end was that she decided she didn't want to have anything to do with the retribution angle, which I'm glad she spoke up for herself because it would have been terrible for her. They didn't see anything for her, so they let her go. It makes everything very, very difficult. Now, if you want to take NXT, and I think we said it last week, if you want to take NXT and make it a separate thing and not have to worry about those guys being brought up, your Garganos, your Ciampas, any of those guys, keep it separate. It's a separate show. You tell those guys you're on an NXT contract. You'll never go to Raw or SmackDown. It is what it is.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do that, then there's really, I almost relate it back to OVW. The same stuff Jim Cornette used to bitch about all the time in OVW when he was writing OVW TV. He would have John Cena on one week and then have long-term plans for him. And then the next week it's, okay, you're being brought up to SmackDown and you don't have them anymore. So it makes it very difficult to write a TV show.
To be fair, that's more the exception than the rule. I mean, that's only been in the past month and a half or so that they've been calling people up at random out of nowhere just to throw them on WWE TV because of all the releases. There was that one instance in early 2019 when they just ripped Ricochet, Aleister Black, Gargano, and Ciampa from the show to have Gargano and Ciampa eventually return. But, for the most part, they've treated NXT with far more respect as far as what was actually going on there than they ever did OVW. But
yeah, I just, the way I feel about it is that to me, I think NXT is written better, or even maybe not so much right now because I don't watch a lot of it right now, but overall has been, over the past couple of years, has been written better and has been a better TV show than Raw or SmackDown. And I think if I'm Vince and I'm looking at it through his eyes, I see that as, oh Christ, how am I going to stop this? Instead of just trying to write and do something better for Raw and SmackDown, I'll just do something to kill NXT and then keep Raw and SmackDown the way it is. And I think that's what's going on. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't see how you can blame Triple H for the downfall. You can't put NXT up against an AEW with the star. Like I feel like AEW's got more star power than NXT does.
I would hope.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, how do you think you're going to win that? You're not. And it takes time to win stuff like that. I don't even feel like they had enough time to really get the ball rolling.
I don't know, and there was an interesting Twitter trend the other day that I came across when I was doing my work at the desk. It was, what was the moment when you kind of started to turn your nose on NXT? And there was some people that were coming up with some ridiculous things from years ago. But to me, I don't even know. I just know that over the past 3-4 months, I haven't been as interested or as into it. I don't know. I certainly am not going to put all the blame on Beth Phoenix, but I think she really takes away from it every time she speaks. I think the women are overemphasized upon. I don't want to continue to see this many women. Like I said, the hashtag was Give Divas a Chance, not a third of the show, and it's too much.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot
disagree.
of people that have had enough.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
But you can't say it because it's not PC.
Yeah,
well, I'm saying
it's difficult because, I mean, look who Triple H is married to. So
Yeah.
you know that she's buzzing in his ear. Hey, we got to get women on. We got to do this. We got to do that. And again, that's only speculation. I don't know that for a fact, but I could speculate it, and that's what's going on. And it's unfortunate because, again, you look at they put Candice LeRae all over TV, and now she comes out pregnant. So it's like,
and look at how many other ones that's happened with.
yeah, it's just and hey, listen, I'm not saying don't get pregnant. I'm
No.
not saying that at all. Like I wish them all the best. I'm glad they're growing their family, but can you do it the right way? Can you let somebody know? Can you go down first before and maybe do a loser leaves town match or something to where it's actually part of the storyline instead of just giving up the story now? It's so odd.
Well, I think they should have clauses that are similar in Hollywood. If you become pregnant in the middle of the movie, you lose out financially in some way, shape, or form. If they want to go out and have a family, that's great. But you know what? You're impacting a lot of people's livelihoods, the way they're going about doing it, just by showing up one week and saying, oh, I'm pregnant now, let's drop all of this material. Look at the whole Lacey Evans, Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair disaster that turned into because Lacey decided to, well, I don't think decided is the right word, but she didn't take the proper precautions to avoid becoming pregnant until her run was done. It's the same thing with Becky Lynch. WWE wasted a year and a half making her one of the top stars of the company so she could show up one week and said, oh, geez, I'm pregnant. I can't wrestle anymore. You know, show the industry the respect it deserves. Say, you know what? I've decided we'd like to have a baby. Can we come up with something over the next few weeks to write me out? I'd like to leave for X amount of time and have a family. And I think that's great if they want to go about it doing it that way. Just showing up with baby in womb, no, I don't think that's the way to go about it.
And I don't disagree, and I know that we're going to come off as the assholes out of this one because it's not PC with what we're saying.
No one's changing my mind.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's it's too bad, and like I said, I'm happy for anybody that wants to either start a family or expand a family. I'm delighted that I have 2 kids of my own.
You're
but
delighted. It almost sounds like an orange juice commercial. What delights you about it so much?
Hey, listen, I mean, there's nothing better.
I'm teasing.
No, I know.
You don't have
still,
to sell me.
I get it. No, but I get it. So I understand what the women are going through. But again, at the same time, it's just that you're not working for, a business that can, you're not a secretary somewhere where they can hire a temp secretary. That's just not the way it works. It's
you don't create a temp superstar. Yeah.
If it was that easy, trust me, the ratings would be a hell of a lot better than what they are.
From your lips to God's ears. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of condition the man is going to be in when she comes back.
Well,
I keep reading these little internet headlines that we're going to be seeing Becky Lynch much sooner than later. Is she going to mean anything to the ratings after the first week or two? I say no. I could be wrong.
I hope yes. I don't think it will be because I don't know if they'll bring her back in the right way. I think it's just going to be a draft thing. I think they're gonna do another phony draft that they do every year.
That is coming up right after SummerSlam this year, I believe, before Labor Day. They're trying to beat the NFL to the punch.
Yeah,
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to the first draft pick. My prediction is this: first draft pick for SmackDown is going to be Becky Lynch, and she'll show up the following.
So they can say,
week.
"Oh, Michael Cole, it's the first time in WWE history a woman has been drafted first."
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what, Michael? That's why no one's watching right now from your television program that's ratings have also been chopped in half since it debuted back in the fall of 2018. But I digress.
Yes. I guess, that's all I really got this week.
All right, well.
Maybe next week. I think next week is SummerSlam, correct?
It is. So it'll be the day after SummerSlam. So we'll have a lot to talk
that's
about.
right.
It's
So
a Saturday night
oh.
SummerSlam.
Jesus, I wish we would have previewed SummerSlam a little bit.
No, I don't think they're ready to preview SummerSlam yet. They're still trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Hey, listen,
if you
all
were
I
to
have
make
to say,
quick picks in the big two, do you think Billy Goldberg will walk away with the WWE Championship?
No, I think Bobby Lashley keeps it. I think my gut right now is that Cena wins and then gets cashed in on.
I hope not, but that would be interesting.
I hope not too, but I think that's the only way you can get the title off Roman without doing a whole screw F finish, and I just don't see Big E cashing in on Roman. It just doesn't, I don't know. But at the same token, Big E doesn't even have the briefcase anymore because Baron Corbin stole it, which I have to say Baron Corbin's doing an excellent job with his new character.
Man. Yeah, that's a money maker.
I think it's good. I like it.
To me, I wouldn't have either one of those guys lose until WrestleMania.
And then
why build them up for nothing?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, hey, listen, I think it's also a good idea to keep the belt on Roman. I'm a big fan of not having belts change. If I'm even allowed to call them belts, I'll say championships. I'm a big fan of not having the championship change as often as they do change. But if I go with my gut, like I said, I think Cena is going to get the Duke, and then somebody's going to cash in on Cena.
Yeah, my WrestleMania Big Two would be a surprise Cena Rumble victory if he's available, and where they actually promote that he's going for the championship for the 17th time to break Flair's records, which to me is another indication that I can't see it happening at SummerSlam, where they haven't even mentioned that if he does win, he's going to basically be the greatest champion in the history of the genre. I could see a WrestleMania chase for the title with him and Lashley, and I'd like to see Lesnar and Roman with Paul Heyman kind of in the middle. Who is he going to go to the dance with?
Yeah, I agree. Bless you to whoever is sneezing in your background.
That's the professor. Wow, these microphones must be pretty good if you heard him sneeze.
I did, and I'm sure it's gonna. The fans are gonna hear it as well.
Well, Professor, you're getting a lot of blessings around the country, along with his good friend Father Jurgen Leas, who actually is a Catholic priest we have down here that has sex. He's married.
Okay, well, that might be a
you're really dodging that subject,
time.
But
holy Jesus! I think on that note,
I won't share his nickname on the show, but it's a fun one too. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll have to wait and see where it goes. I don't look at SummerSlam right now being a terrific barn burner of a show. It's certainly not going to be the biggest party of the summer this year. I'll tell you that much.
Well, you know what? I am looking forward to being in Las Vegas, but it'll be for the Cauliflower Alley Club, not SummerSlam. So
yeah, you know what? I you're a lucky guy. I haven't gotten a chance to get out to one of those. I really got to get out to. Maybe next year we'll have to make plans to get out there.
Well, there you go. Think of the great content we could tape. All right, fans, we are running out of time on this week's Wrestling Insider Stern But Fair. Don't forget, this is the final week to get your discount all-inclusive VIP packages and event tickets to Boston Wrestling MWF's 20th anniversary. Back to the 80s WrestleFest, Saturday night, November the 13th, from the historic Memorial Hall, downtown Melrose, Massachusetts, in the zip code of Champion 02176. Already announced, America's Hero, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake Roberts, Axe and Smash Demolition, Marty Jannetty. Then on SummerSlam Saturday, we announced the sixth featured superstar. At that point, because we're giving you so much for such a great value, that ticket discount expires. They go to the regular price. So we want you guys to get the best experience, the best value in professional wrestling, none of the sports entertainment nonsense. Head on over to bostonwrestling.com now. Get your tickets. I'm telling you, the VIPs are flying. They are flying. It's going to be a happening. And
they are flying, and you bet. Let's scoop them all up, like by the end of today, maybe, or the end of a couple days from now, so that way we can get Ric Flair.
Well, you are really going to hold me to my word on this.
I totally am.
Well,
I
have
totally
said
am.
Now, did I say it would be for this particular event? Because you know what? We run into the
You're
backtracking.
backtracking.
I'm not backtracking, but we run into the potential that, okay, let's say all the VIPs do sell out and I have to keep my word that I bring in Ric Flair. What if Ric Flair isn't available on November 13th?
Well, that's beyond your control.
Well, there you
There's
go.
nothing
Well,
can
you
do
have to
about
keep.
that.
There's another beauty right there for the professor walking by. All LD.
Oh, God.
All right, anyway. All right, for my Sunday partner in crime, Mr. Mulligan, I'm Dan Moratti. We will be back tomorrow night after Monday Night Raw at 11 p.m. with former WWF Tag Team Championship manager Oscars. Wrestling Insider's Monday Night Mission. We'll see you then, folks. Until then, you and yours, be well. Good night.
Bro.
Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.